Javier Assad hit how fast on the radar gun? We catch up with the World Baseball Classic and discuss where Assad fits into the Cubs' plans next.
Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Alongside Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy, and you're tuned in to Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Please support the show and be a part of the Locked On Cubs community by following and subscribing on all audio platforms. And you can watch, subscribe, and leave a comment on YouTube. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Sam and I are lifelong fans, taking our passion into discussion with you on all things Cubs. Today's episode here on a Tuesday is brought to you by our new partners at Ultimate Baseball GM. Ever dreamed of becoming an MLB GM and managing your own baseball franchise? And this game is for you. To download the game, just visit ultimatebaseballgm.com or look it up on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Our listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On, all caps, in the game. That's Ultimate Baseball GM. Well, Sam, opening day is 16 days away as we get closer and closer to liftoff, and it's been great to have the World Baseball Classic as an appetizer of sorts.
What type of appetizer would you say it is? Chicken wings? Mott sticks,
spinach and artichoke dip.
Sampler, nice spinach and artichoke dip.
Okay, with some chips.
Yeah.
And Javier Assad, Cubs prospect, 3 shutout innings Sunday night for Mexico in their win over the United States. He allowed 1 hit. That was to the best player on the planet, Mike Trout. No walks, 2 strikeouts, 37 pitches with an astounding 26 strikes. Both strikeouts were against Pete Alonso. But here's the kicker. Sunday night, Assad sat 95-96 and topped out at 97. Last year, he sat 92-93. All Cubs fans were buzzing on Monday with this performance. What did you think of it?
I was watching the game in my bed, as I was laying in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and I had it on, and I wasn't watching the game until I saw on Twitter that Assad entered the game. And look, this is going to sound like a dramatic overreaction because I don't know, it probably is. But I was astounded by the way he looked. Is that a word?
Yeah, I used it 60 seconds ago to go over his strike percentage.
Oh, sorry, it's late tonight.
Thanks for listening.
Sometimes I zone out in the beginning. It was, you said astounding. I used the verb version.
Right. Continue your point.
He looked tremendous. And
he did.
Look, I don't want this conversation to go into, oh, he should be in the 5th starter mix, or, oh, he should start the team there, because one start or one appearance doesn't do that. Although he was fine. Whatever plans they have for him. But here's the point, and it goes back to my original point last week on this very program where I said the Cubs pitching is in the best position it's ever been. Here's the kicker, Mateo.
All right, let's play some soccer.
You said 92-93. He's up to 97 yesterday.
Yeah.
They are figuring out how to develop pitchers. And
praise God for that.
That is pitcher development. That is something we never see guys jump up in velocity wearing Cubby blue.
No, say it for the people outside, dog.
In Dodger blue, they always do. Hey.
All right, well, you know Vin Scully, but keep going.
In Houston, you go to Houston, you're throwing 94, you leave Houston, and you're Billy Wagner. And to see a guy jump up that much that worked on his, obviously he was working with some Cubs guys, is really exciting. It's just another footnote, another example in the Cubs becoming very dangerous. That's peligroso in Spanish as a pitching staff. Okay.
I gotcha.
And you can't ignore that, because I'm not going to lie to you. Javier Assad wasn't on my radar because I just thought, another soft tosser. We don't need this. 97. He's coming with some serious gas.
And he actually pitched well last year.
No, he did.
His stuff was for the most part underwhelming.
Right.
And he wasn't lighting up the radar gun like he is now, like we're talking about, but he actually was effective. And even last night, he did what he's mostly done despite the jump in velocity. He pitches to contact.
Yeah.
A lot of ground balls,
That's right.
some pop-ups. The strike percentage is really impressive. To not walk anybody, especially in that lineup, is very good, very encouraging. And so it just highlights the development, as you say, and then it reinforces the depth that this team has entering the 2023 season.
Right.
Because he is going to start the season as the number 1 or number 2 in the AAA Iowa rotation. If Wisniewski starts the year with the Northsiders, I would think Assad probably starts opening day for the I-Cubs, him or Caleb Killian. And, it's just another good depth piece. And I understand, I used my imagination today too, after getting excited about this. I even thought about him coming out of the bullpen.
No, I know.
So we'll see where this goes.
And that 97 probably comes from him knowing he was just going to be out there for a short amount of time.
Yep.
But still, again,
Adrenaline
exactly.
rush.
Let's say, hey, we again, like you always say, it's all about that start. You get off to a good start as a team.
28 games.
And 1 or 2 guys get hurt in the bullpen or something like that. You bring him up. I mean, can you imagine that type of out? I mean, he did it against the best hitters in the world.
Yeah. Could he follow Drew Smiley and be electric like that for 3 innings?
Yes.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, he just proved it. I mean, by the way, I know the World Baseball Classic is absolutely nothing like Big League Baseball, but that stage last night for him and Mexico is way more important to him than a 120 April game at Wrigley. So he if he can handle that stage, he can handle that.
It was a big league stage.
Yeah, and then for Mexico, I'd argue even bigger.
Yeah, and that was a big win for them.
Tremendous outing
that early in the tournament. And earlier in the day, it was good to see Owen Casey hit a blast for Canada with PCA and James Triantos in attendance. Great to see these prospects supporting each other.
Very cool.
Matt Mervis finished 1 for 3 with a walk for Israel in their opening win.
And then he went 0 for today as they did not have a base runner in 8 innings. And the Jewish community were not happy with that performance.
Yeah, they need to rebound in their next ball game. But so some good Cubs flavor.
They better have Bill Russell
in the WBC.
The rebound.
And very exciting about Assad. And again, we're going to keep an eye on these players. We're going to do a Locked On I-Cubs segment. We're going to do a Locked On Smokies. We're going to do Locked On Myrtle Beach Pelicans, Locked On South Bend. And we're going to highlight, how teams are doing and performances throughout the week. So it's going to be fun.
And I would like to add that if the Cubs season does go south, stay tuned, because every day we'll do a Locked On, and then we'll do a year from 1969 through 2023 and just cover that team.
Sounds good.
Like
do like a flashback.
We could just do a 77 Cubs version,
like a season recap.
How about the 97 Cubs? I think they lost their first 13 games.
Oh boy.
Imagine if that happens this year, we'll be out of jobs.
Yeah, no, don't put that into existence. But again, folks, speaking of that, the 28 games to open the year is huge.
Huge.
Right now, I'm focused on 15 and 13.
Yep, that's the number.
And but again, we're going to go over that in a future episode. So, coming up next is a game we like to play. Haven't played it in a while, so good to bring it back. Good to see it on the rundown. It's 0 to 100, and it's on the other side. Today's episode is brought to you by our new partners at Ultimate Baseball GM. We're starting to get really geeked out by our new partner over at Ultimate Baseball GM because you can be an MLB GM and manage your own professional baseball franchise. Manage every strategic aspect of your team, play through the season, and lead your team to glory. You're responsible for three things. One, hiring the right coaches and staff. Two, scouting and drafting players. And three, navigating your franchise through free agency and all the ups and downs of a season. This is all in a challenging and realistic game world. Ultimate Baseball GM is also completely free and playable offline. So you can play it on the go as you want and when you want to.
Very cool.
Sam and I are going to begin soon competing against the other Locked On MLB hosts. A little friendly competition there. And I would encourage you to encourage and have your friends and family play this game as the season gets started. Locked On Cubs listeners get a 100% free boost to their franchise when using the promo Locked On in the game store. So make sure to check it out. To download the game, just visit probaseballgm.com, scan the code, or look it up on Apple Play and Google Play app stores. That's probaseballgm.com for Ultimate Baseball GM and start your dynasty today.
I'll be starting my dynasty. I'll be hiring Chris Bosio as my pitching coach.
That would be a good hire.
Absolutely.
John Maley is the hitting coach.
Nah, I'll pass on that.
All right. He's back with the Cubs org this year.
Yeah,
so welcome back to Locked On Cubs.
Not Chili Davis, I'll tell you that.
Oh, man. He was a one and done, right?
I hope so.
I think he was, yeah. The Cubs have had 75 hitting coaches in the last 5 years.
75 on the dot.
A record, a pro baseball record. We're in your ears, Apple, Spotify. Please make sure to follow the show on there. And we're going to play 0, 2, 1.
Finally.
100. Who wants to lead us off?
I will be Juan Pierre.
All right, awesome.
Or in this case, Nico Horner. Ugh.
Oh,
I love Nico. It's not a leadoff hole. Matthew, last season, Cubs right fielder, Japanese import Seiya Suzuki, played 111 baseball games this year.
I do remember
last year. 0 to 100 that he will play more than 111 this year.
Okay, so let me just do some quick math here. 162 minus 28.
Don't do this live.
I'm going to say 60%.
Yeah.
60%. So he's automatically down to about 130 games. Yep. If May 1st is his return date.
Can't have any other IL stints, basically.
Yeah, so that would be another minus 20. So after that. So that's really pushing it.
Yeah.
That's pushing it. So
isn't that sad?
I'm going to say between 50 and 60% if I could actually reduce my first mark.
You know what's great about this? You could do whatever you want because it's your program.
Right.
Right.
And by the way, your rent is due on the 15th.
I agree with you. I think 60 is the number.
Okay.
I think he's got to be really motivated to play. I think he's going to do whatever he can to argue against as many rest days as possible. And I say 60.
Yeah, I think that's a great question.
Thank you.
0 to 100, Sam. Dansby Swanson.
Yeah, you read my mind.
Is the first Cub to 10 home runs.
Based on his spring training, I'm going to say negative 720.
I'm kidding. As I drink my canned water.
No, it's kind of odd. I'm going to say.
Wow, was that performance, or are you that down on him?
It's a joke, mostly because I've gotten a lot of smart people messaging me. And
Big Rand is really concerned.
So is Bryce.
Yeah.
I'll say 10% just because I don't.
Okay.
Even if he was hitting well, it's just not very high. It's just anybody could do it.
Right.
Here's the thing. I can't be too worried about Dansby yet because I haven't watched him hit enough. Like I've seen Dansby Swanson this spring hit like 5 or 6 times. I didn't notice anything egregiously wrong. When I get my eyes on him every day, so like for example, the next time he's in the lineup, I'm going to make sure to watch all 3 or all 2 of his at bats because now people are asking me about it. But like and the other thing is I didn't watch him a ton with the Braves, so I don't know where he is as a hitter because I'm pretty good at breaking down when guys look off. Like I remember I think it was in 17, Schwarber, the whole year before he got sent down. I'm like, even when he hits well, it doesn't look right. Mm-hmm. So I need to watch that. And by like, April 5th, April 6th, I'll probably have a really good idea of, all right, he's been now struggling the whole month and something doesn't look right. Because I remember his base hit that he got to right against San Diego in spring was a mishit. It was a lucky hit. So I'm aware of what's going on and I'm going to dig deeper, but let's just let him be for now.
Okay.
10%.
Very fair.
10%.
All right. Sounds good.
How about you?
Yeah, I think first to 10 home runs, I would bump that up to 20 or 25.
Yeah.
I think Bellinger would be one of my lead dogs for 10 homers.
Tauchman.
I think
I'm serious.
Trey Mancini.
Bellinger.
I know. I just said him 20 seconds ago.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Okay. So
Wisdom.
Yes, Wisdom's a good one.
Madrigal.
Mike Todd. Oh, okay. See, you got to stop there.
Well, Madrigal might reach 10 home runs in the next 6-7 years. I got one more for you.
Yeah, so do I.
Okay, this is a little off
I
topic.
actually have 2 questions this time.
0 to 100. One of our basketball teams. You root for the Hawkeyes. I root for the Illini, Fighting Illini. Wins a game this tournament. One game. One of us.
I think it's about 33%.
Yeah, it's bad. I think you guys are 1-point dogs according to FanDuel.
Should be more.
And I think we're 2.5 to 3-point dogs according to FanDuel. So mathematically, the odds say it's over 50% that one of us wins. I'm not going there. I'll say about 47%. And I think the Hawkeyes are the more likely to find a way to win a game.
See, I'm down on them right now.
Well, yeah, as you should be. And I've been down on my ball club since Thanksgiving. But I think depending on when we record Thursday, we might record after those 2 games, so we'll be able to report back before the weekend. But it depends when you decide to record.
Okay. So and the game is
I'm just a pawn, folks. I'm just a pawn. That's how behind the scenes I get told when to show up, and yes, sir. Got stuff to do. Nobody cares.
And Iowa plays Auburn, which is 2 hours from Birmingham.
And it's the Bruce Pearl Bowl, and of course I have a say with Bruce Pearl, but I won't go there.
Oh, geez, yeah, you and all the other Illinois fans that are still bitter.
I won't go there with Pearl.
So I have a similar question.
Yeah.
0 to 100, a Big Ten team makes the Final Four.
Great question, Mateo.
And I don't like Purdue right now.
No, I don't like any Big Ten team.
Right.
I will say 15% Purdue, maybe Michigan. It's not going to be the Hoosiers.
Okay.
Maybe
Trace Jackson Davis?
Maybe Michigan State makes a run because they got Marquette if they get by.
Okay.
I think that's kind of a week 2 seed.
Right.
I'll say 15%.
Okay.
And we haven't made the Sweet 16, and we being the Illini since 2005.
Wow.
And I don't think Iowa's made one in my lifetime.
Okay. Well, I'm going to say 1%.
No,
Big Ten team.
No, that's 1%.
Yeah, no, I'm down on this conference.
No, I've been down on it since like 2012, but I'm just saying 1% is real. I mean, that's basically the odds that I become a millionaire tomorrow. I don't know.
So some college basketball talk later this week. We're going to talk some Bears.
No, seriously, the Bears just had the greatest week since the Super Bowl in 2006.
Okay, so
no, I'm not joking.
lot of bingo card material here. From
if you're not excited about what the Bears did this week, you're not a Bear fan.
Right. Coming up next, we're going to get to some listener voicemails. We explain what that is, then we press play on those. Coming up next.
Can't wait.
Today's episode is also brought to you by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. New customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. We have the NCAA tournament. We're down the stretch of the NBA season. We have MLB opening day coming up, including MLB win totals right now on the app that are changing potentially every day. Plus, FanDuel even lets you combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with the same game parlay. So don't miss the chance to get your no sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of Locked On Cubs. Welcome back to Locked On Cubs. Thanks for making us your first listen every day. We did announce on Friday that we are now the #1 Cubs podcast, and there's many reasons for that beyond the numbers. And I think engagement is definitely towards the top of the list. And today's episode, we become the first Cubs podcast to play voicemails. This is something that I really wanted to explore doing. We have 3 of them in the queue right now. So it's to the point of exploring it because we're actually going to do it. And still workshopping some names for this. And I see this having great potential post-game. Okay, so that's something that as we build content plans for the season, that's on our radar and firmly on our radar. So
like a radio show.
Yeah. And it's quite honestly something that I just think is going to make the program more fun. I've always enjoyed potentially taking calls and so we're going to do that. So the number is 312-834-4634. We're going to play 3 of these right now, and Sam hasn't heard these. I do want to give you behind the curtain there. And we do have a nice graphic that we're going to put up as well for the viewers. And again, for the listener and the viewer, that's 312-834-4634. First is Bill in Wisconsin right now.
Hey guys, Bill from Wisconsin here. Was just thinking about the question you posed at the end of the pod this morning about is the win and loss of the exhibition season really indicative of anything? I don't think it is. I think that the wins and losses are always byproducts of who's in the lineup. So until Ross and the powers to be in the front office gets a 26-man roster, then those games are going to look a little more important. Right now, we're still in the evaluation stage, and so many of the guys are going to be over at the World Baseball Classic. To me, in evaluation, we're not only evaluating players right now, but really, will Ross and his coaching staff also run a ball game? That's my big thing. I really am not sold on David Ross as a brain trust to see this all the way through to the new core group and repeated success for long term. The other question today, do you guys think that Samson can perform in a swingman role out of the bullpen rather than being in the rotation? And also, I'm thinking of what I heard back a while ago. Ross was talking about piggyback the starts, sort of like what Counsell does in Milwaukee. He has his, what does he call them, pitch throwers or whatever to start the game and runs the games like an exhibition game during the season. Plus, he's able to plot the pitching staff assignments weeks in advance, going versus what teams we're playing and where we're at, what ballparks, etc. So I'll let you go with that message for food for thought and mull it over. Hey, if you want to play it on the air, I'm all for it. And also, love to hear your response on the air or text feedback. Anyway, long story short, love the podcast, guys. You're doing a great job. You get a lot of inside scoops going every day. A lot of fuel for thinking. So take care. And if I don't text anything else the rest of the
Thank you so much for the call, Bill. That's Bill in Wisconsin leading us off on our new voicemail segment. And he had several observations there.
Several.
He's also a frequent texter to the program. And yeah, I think I'm jiving with all the comments about, our discussion about the team having success in spring training. And then asking about Sampson's potential role if he loses the fifth starter job.
Yeah.
So a lot to potentially respond to there. We thank you so much for calling in.
Yeah, I think everything he said has a lot of merit to it.
Right.
I agree. I think the thing that stuck out the most was about the raw stuff, and Council does the piggyback starts. I know what he's talking about there, and we've talked about it on this show. Is, do we trust David Ross, the manager, to be able to handle something like that? Because that takes a lot of thinking and a lot of getting everything right, pulling guys at the right time, getting guys in at the right time, and for this team to have success, he's going to have to do that at a high level because there are a lot of options and creativity with the stuff. I think Sampson right now is unpitchable. To answer that part of the question, when you give up that many home runs in that few innings, you have to be sent down. Doesn't matter if it's the minor leagues. It doesn't matter if it's spring training. Doesn't matter if he's playing outside in the park with his nephews. Okay,
right.
If you give up, what is he giving up? 8 homers already?
Yeah.
I mean, that there's something mechanically wrong there that needs to be fixed. Agree for the most part with the spring training part of it, and yeah, it's a good call.
And here's Steve as we play 2 voicemails here to wrap up.
Hey, Matt and Sam, this is Steve. Hey, man, one thing across my mind I need to get off my chest is Cody Bellinger and the way he stands in the box with his hands up high like that. And after the pitch is released, he's bringing his hands down. It's kind of a timing thing, I understand, but he needs to get his hands still. He needs to get his hands quiet. By the time before that time the ball is leaving the pitcher's hands, a good half second before it leaves the pitcher's hands, he should have his hands down. Cody Bellinger should have his hands down, and set. And because he's moving, that's why he can't make consistent contact. He's moving too much. Hands are drifting, just like in that, the movie, Trouble with the Curve. You gotta have your hands silent, man. You gotta have your hands still when that pitcher's coming at you, so you got a consistent starting point, So anyway, I think he should, that's what he should do, is move his hands, at least, he can maintain that same batting stance if he likes it so much, but he needs to move his hands a little bit sooner before the ball is released. So anyway, I need to get that off my chest. Thanks, guys. Love the show. You know what? I'm a displaced Cub fan. You know what? It was tough being a Cub fan up in Chicago for all those years that they, never won a World Series. And I moved down here about 17, 18 years ago. You think it's tough to be a Cub fan in Chicago? It's even tougher to be a Cub fan down here in Cardinal Nation. I'm right across the river from St. Louis, and it's okay though, because I stand tall, and I love going to games, with my Cub gear on, when the Cubs are in town here in St. Louis, so it's all good, man. All right, hey, love you guys, take care.
Thank you for the phone call, Steve in St. Louis. It was his dance floor there, 2 minutes of glory. And he was calling from St. Louis, enemy territory, but he's surviving and thriving down there. And again, please give us a call. It takes a while to ring and actually get to my voice and leave your voicemail after the tone, but it's fun. So good effort from you, Steve, down there.
Can I respond to that
yes.
real quick? Something's off with Bellinger's stance.
You think so?
Oh, I thought it. He's right about it. It looks when I watch the guy hit. I was telling this to Scott the other day. It's too relaxed. Like I get it. You want to keep the hands loose. You remember when Addison Russell went through that phase where he kept swinging and missing the ball and the bat was flying 18 rows up because he was so relaxed. Now Bellinger doesn't do that, but it just you have to have a little bit of nervous energy in the box. You don't want to have a lot, but
Right.
he just sits there and then loads. I agree. It's an odd stance.
Okay.
I have to do more work on that.
Yeah, I guess I would have to zoom in on that a little more.
Well, he might want to change something because last year he hit like 200.
Right. Well, it's a concern how he's produced, but I guess just based on his setup, I'm not as convicted about it as Steve or possibly as you or anyone else. But it's good to bring it up. Not something I thought of exactly. So I think that was good to talk about. All right. So that's the voicemail segment. I think the future's bright. The future's bright. Good to hear from the listeners.
2 voicemails, and they were on the longer side, and nobody made fun of me.
Wow, that's good.
Thought sure I'd get a dig.
Be sure to hit that subscribe button for Locked On Cubs on YouTube and smash the like button on all your favorite Locked On Cubs content, Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, and more on the audio side. And you could drop us a text or now leave us a voicemail, 312-834-4634. Thanks for making Locked On Cubs your first listen every day. Now make your second Locked On Fantasy Baseball. Win your league by listening to Matt and Dom every day as they bring you the best fantasy draft strategies. Locked On Fantasy Baseball, available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. For Sam Olber, I'm Matt Cozy. This is Locked On Cubs.